You're listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Cut through the bulb with Red Tape Africa. Follow us on all social media at Red Tape Africa and tweet at us using the hashtag Red Tape Africa. Red Tape Africa. Economic policy impact in plain English. Doing business in Africa can be complicated. Politicians sometimes create circumstances that hurt businesses and consumers, and then they hide behind a wall of to avoid taking responsibility for their bad economic policies. On Red Tape Africa, we slice through the jargon, drawing a direct link between government actions and their effects on businesses across the continent. Red Tape Africa is where we break down the jargons of business and economic policies in plain English so that you can understand how the impacts on your business and on you. Join us every Tuesday and Thursday on Africa Business Radio as we deliver an impartial verdict on these policies. Red Tape Africa, economic policy impact in plain English.
They are 1.8 billion globally. They will make 75% of workforce by 2025. They will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers for every conversation. Get more insights on African millennials on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Wow, what's happening in Lagos? What's happening in Dakar? So I have some friends that are doing a road trip around West Africa right now, and he told me some days ago that he got to the border at Gambia and was denied visa after going through about 7 countries by road, and he got to Gambia. He was really angry. So Gambians, what's happening? You denied my friend a visa. That's unfair. All right, it's a very wonderful afternoon again. It's Tomi Wale on the African Millennial radio show on Africa Business Radio. And I have this very great person with me. I think first time I met him was at a conference by Business Day. We've had a couple of things going on at Business Day together, running into each other, and of course he has his own personal ones and I have my own personal ones too. So I think the first time there was this it was a thing for the staff at Business Day where we both taught that, and then we've also had the CEO apprentice where Business Day teaches teenagers on entrepreneurship skills. I've followed him for a very long time. I've heard about him from mutual friends also, things like that, and I'm very, very, very fortunate to have him in the studio today to have conversations on a very interesting topic that I've particularly not even put a definition to, but then we'll see how it goes. It's Ekundayo Ayeni anyways. How are you doing now?
Thank you for having me around.
All right, sorry. Okay, guys, let's rewind. Let's imagine I've not mentioned his name. So let me say a couple of things about him. He's an alumnus of the Harvard University Executive Program where he studied digital marketing, social media marketing, and a Google advertising partner. He's also known as the most successful B2B sales guru in Nigeria. You see how very interesting and lucky we are in the studio this afternoon. Ekundayo has worked with brands across the world as a digital marketing consultant to deliver revenue growth from content-focused inbound marketing campaigns. Ekundayo is the CEO of Business Plus Services, a leading digital marketing transformation agency in Africa. I mean, let me stop there though, right? Because I'm sure if I keep going, I might use the whole time on the show to talk about Ekundayo's profile. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm great.
I mean, thank you for coming around, man.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, it's a dream come true. Trust me. You might think I'm whining, but it's a dream come true because I've always just wished there are more people around to talk about things around data, the importance of focusing on millennials in marketing, business growth, and things like that. But a couple of people don't get it. Let me give you a short story. When Get Up Inc. launched the African Millennial Report in 2016, I'm talking with chief marketing officers, and they're asking me what millennial means. Yeah, true story. true story.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So now we are here today, and I'm just happy you're here. So this is it first, though. You have worked with so many brands. I mean, especially in activation, brands that have existed with the older generation now want to transition into getting the attention of the new generation. Yeah. You've worked with brands who are just starting from the scratch. It is new in the country and they're just trying to get it going. You've worked with different brands now in different industries. What can you say the value of millennials are when it comes to making marketing decisions?
Okay, so I would say thank you for having me around. From my experience, we don't make assumptions about millennials, okay, because they have their own space, and per country, decision-making processes are different. Okay. So you find that what triggers influence around this part of the world are tied to things like entertainment, who they want to be, the showmanship of what they do, interest points like what would other people think about us, as against when you go to other countries and what triggers are things like culture, their emotions. So there's usually that variation. So there's usually no one size fits all. Per country, you find different attention span, different interests. Like there are countries we've been to where they are not big on entertainment, but they are millennials. Or they are just big on conversations. They are just big on trying to make headway. So there is that variation. So you take a product there and you're not getting the kind of vibe you get in countries like Nigeria. I know a popular beverage drink whose target audience is between the age of 13 to 19, and they're very popular in the market. When they had a major competition coming to the Nigeria market, which we worked with at the time, all that matters to the millennial was a bigger bottle. And that big bottle just sold like mad.
You were 60 cl,
exactly, not 50 cl. So that just changed the whole narrative in the industry, and then you begin to hear all kind of campaigns coming out, and now they're trying to also fight at price points now. So you begin to see them go 70, 100 naira kind of campaign, but yet the millennial had gone. What used to be had changed. So those kind of things kind of influence their decision, shows their value per time. And then you've seen the Big Brother Africa. You've seen how that influenced the kind of style, the way we all shouted and spoke about it, you know. But people have even crossed the line where we call millennials, put it on themselves to ensure that a particular person wins, a particular person loses, then we come to the vibe. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, I mean, if you're not ready to have an understanding of how millennials think, you're not particularly ready to have an understanding of the future of your business. Yeah, that's very okay. Now, I'm seeing this as some sort of a masterclass, so it's a conversation, but then I'm here to learn a lot too. I'm sure there's someone out there. You see, you can go on LinkedIn right now and check Ayeni Ekundayo, so you have an idea of the kind of person that we're having a conversation with today. Let me just bring someone into the studio. Okay, there's the Gen Z happening right now. Right. So this whole millennial conversation thing, I think, started early, maybe 2010, 2011. So there was 2000 to maybe 2009, right? And then mid 2000s, you had the use of the mobile phone and then attach camera to your phone so you can take a picture. Then social media started, and then phones inside the cameras inside the phones, and you can take a picture of yourself. And then you now started having publishing houses. On your phones. You get what I'm saying? So all of that started, and then culture and entertainment, right? Culture in fashion, so many things now started forming the mindsets of people. Now, early 2010, 2011 started, and then we now started taking the social media thing more serious, especially blogging and things like that. So from Lagos, for example, we had the likes of Linda Ikeji doing a lot of things online, right? In South Africa, we had the likes of Bonang doing a lot of things online, right? I'm sure if you're listening from your country right now, you can really think of someone from your country that came up now. It was even around that time that the likes of Kim Kardashian really picked up a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay, that's happened. And then in this decade, a lot of people that were not known before or would have thought that their means of livelihood would have come from somewhere else came through the internet. It was even really crazy around 2015, 2016, where a lot of video things now started.
Yeah.
Now there's a new decade coming. It's where you have a full-blown activity with the Gen Z guys.
Yeah.
Right. So they're 16, they're 14, right? Some of them are maybe 21 right now. They're in uni. They're writing their work. They're about to finish school. What should organizations look out for? Because we millennials, after some time, we'll come down, we'll start having kids and we won't have time.
Yeah.
It's the younger guys now. And then that will be a totally, in fact, you can see the signs, to be a totally different conversation right now. From everything you are, can you just go full blown on? You're talking to an organization now. What should they start doing now?
Okay. So, first thing is, there's a book written that is called The Innovator's Dilemma. I don't know if you've ever seen the book.
Okay. You should read Innovator's Dilemma. I'm telling people now.
Yeah.
That's a hint.
So, a lot of people never saw the fact that when you grow big, there is the bureaucracy it comes with. The bigger your organization, the more difficult it is to also innovate. When you're dealing with these young guys, the first thing you want to look at is where would they want to be in the next few months and all of that. One point of interest is that they are heavy on media consumption.
Right.
So if I'm going to do that, I'll make sure my products are light products, such that it doesn't consume heavy data.
Okay.
So that will give us an insight into the kind of product you want to develop.
Okay.
We also have another product that they need to start looking at, which is a product that involves high level of secrecy.
Right.
Because the next generation likes secrecy. So my son, for example, is just about 7.
Okay.
And he has a desktop.
Okay.
And every time he's coming to tell me, Daddy, I've changed my password. So it's big on it. So that shows that there's a generation that is big on secrecy, that is coming behind us. Now, there's another layer we need to now start looking. They are heavy on lifestyle. They are not heavy on the kind of content we have always wished they can consume. So the kind of things they will be consuming are things like video content on a very light mode. They will be consuming a lot of things that comes from the music space, and then they tend to change faster with the kind of music that happens. So if you check a song that came out recently, Sophie or something.
That song.
Now you see the virality that those songs comes with. All these guys, they have ability to do those things that you feel you're a bit matured to do,
and then it goes faster.
Exactly.
Than the way we would have accepted.
Exactly.
Right.
So there is a bit of they are not as in like cultures of, I don't want to use the word shame. They are not ashamed as we would always value. No, I don't want to be seen in that kind of light. They don't care. So your products should start looking at things like, I don't care. Let the campaign line be. I'm bold enough. Because we're now going to the place where we talk about self-aggrandizing and about
I hope that's not going to look funny where you now start telling people to be bold. And then you now have different kind of things coming out. And now you're on the internet.
Yeah.
You come out to dining with your family. You look different.
Yeah.
But then you go back into your room. You're something else on the internet.
Exactly. So the conversation is that if you want your business to succeed, because most businesses wants to be that person at the dining table because they feel, that's what's going to drive the conversation. But that's not what's going to drive the conversation. So, I usually give this example. If you're in traffic in Lagos, and you look at the style those guys used to sell, you have your kids behind your car, They are not selling to you, they are selling to the kids most times.
So they bring the toy close to where the kids are.
And then they trigger an interest. Then they begin to tell the dad or the mom, I need to buy this or something. So that's how it works. Okay. So your business must be able to create that attention that will make them shout in-house, and then the parents need to change their behavior towards them. So you see them, they're heavy on games. So gamification should be something you factor into what you do. The style of your product must be able to sustain. I'm reading a book now called Indistractable.
Okay.
And
Indistractable.
Yeah. How to stay focused and not to be distracted. Okay. It's actually for people like us. It's not for the millennials, because they have too much content that is enough to distract them for a lifetime. Everybody's generating things that would distract them. So you must also be able to do this kind of ads that are in mobile ads, rather than wait to have a desktop ad or billboards. We can never take those ones out. But you also need to have a way that your ads are catchy and then become the talk of town.
So it could be like an experience. It could be quite experiential, where you say, okay, walk into this place, play this thing for some time, scan it on your phone, continue the game, and then you get more.
So exactly.
I'm giving something that I should be consulted for that. I shouldn't continue
because there is a company that currently that wants to do something like that, where you can just scan your phone, something, and then the avatar will come out, and
then you keep playing the game.
Playing the game in the mall. It's going to be installed in the malls in Nigeria, from what I gathered. So things like that are going to create more attention.
Wow.
So if you go to the big malls in Nigeria, especially, you can take a case study on Monday. Okay. You see the volume of people that are there as against the number of cars. Especially if you go to somewhere like Ikeja, you will see the very young people will be there, since the public holiday, very young. People below the age of 20 will be there. Yes,
exactly.
And you see the number of cars will be...
And then they're just strolling.
They just want to have the experience. They don't want to go around. And this is Africa. We don't have so much of those kind of malls. So something is missing.
Yes.
They need to be entertained. They need the attention.
Oh, thank you very much, Ekun. Let's have a short break right now, and then we're back with more conversations. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board the flight that takes you from Stretton to Straightened. We are seconds from takeoff. We ask that you please fasten your earpiece into your eardrum and please log on to africabusinessradio.com to avoid being distracted. Thank you for choosing Africa Business Radio. Enjoy this cerebral journey.
From the moment you wake up to the moment you go back to sleep, technology is everywhere. It is changing everything so fast that many no longer remember what it is like to live without technology. You might even say the whole world is mad about tech. Welcome to 989 Tech Talk, only on Africa Business Radio. There are 1.8 billion globally. That will make 75% workforce by 2025. That will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers of every conversation. Get more insights on Africa Millennials on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
All right, welcome back. I'm in school right now, and I'm taking notes. Teacher is Ekundayo. I don't know about you, but I'm sitting in front. my matric number is 001. I'm learning a lot this afternoon. All right, so there's something, right? There's this, shift in Africa. But yes, the shift in Africa. And then organizations want to get things coming out of Africa. Right. I was happy. There's a new song out today. Should this be? I listened to the song. It's Tim Dakola and Emily Sande. That was an interesting. It just came out today. I was like, it's a Christmas song. Now, That's a good mix.
Yeah.
And then people want to get content from Africa. So you're talking about the kids that are just in the mall right now. In half a decade of days, those people would be the ones looking forward to get married now.
Yeah.
What is going to keep them? So if you're going to engage those people, definitely the marketing strategy needs to change. And I think that in it changing, they're on their phones, they are seeing how things are done outside.
Yeah.
Right. And then the way things are done outside, no one just does it without having an informed decision.
Yeah,
right.
data.
You have to have seen what they call data, stats, and things like that. Now, Africa it's just a very wide place, right? Sheyi Abat was traveling, was telling me on Twitter that I think it was in between Mali and maybe Senegal. He said it was just going for about 24 hours on the road, and everything he saw was green.
Wow.
Just green for 24 hours drive, both in the night and the day. No single settlement. Now, in thinking, in perception, Africa is like that. There's so much opportunity, but then can you just comment on that? Like, how can an organization just sink into this place?
So one of the things that baffles me the most is that most of statistics that we deal with in Nigeria or in Africa are actually not gotten from us. I don't know how they get it, but usually it looks like they extrapolate based on certain conversation. So I went to a school at the time, an international school somewhere in the US, and they will be discussing sales and strategy. And this thing cannot work from where I stand as a Nigerian. This thing cannot work. So I would keep telling them, in Africa, this does not work.
Exactly.
This is based on what you have data here for. So in Nigeria, there are some sort of data that we need to start focusing on. I would encourage every organization to spend funds, heavy money. Like there's a popular bike company, around Nigeria now. They're very large. They got investments over $50 million from what we all gathered. Now, do you see their business model? They are creating subsidiaries from every angle. Now, when you now go back, how did they get their data? That was the time we were all using a particular browser, and people would just say, "Oh, because it's cheap, it doesn't take much data. If it works on future phones," people were using their browser heavily. They were gathering data.
Right.
So when they came into the Nigerian market, and you see the volume of people they are hiring now, I think they have about 16,000 people hired. And I've seen them work. I've been to their offices. They don't have the distractions that every other office has. So if you go to the office, you can't find a TV. You can't find all these side, creating special food and all of that. We all want to do things like Google and all of that. These guys are very granular. They are like Nigerians. When you go to the roadside, like the way Nigerians will sell akara, that's how they are.
That's how they work.
That's how those guys look. And they are making pile of cash. The thing is highly functional for them. Now, I'm saying this because we do recruitment for them. So I have a couple of guys with them. So I understand how these guys, they are focused, they are not distracted. Why? Because they are making data interpreted decisions. So they have...
It's wisdom.
So it's wisdom. So when you see the big guys today who are running the multinational, the conglomerate, and they are running, they have all this pasta, they have the beverages, and they are not taking this data thing serious. Like in the past few weeks, you observe that there's a lot of recruitment around hiring people for banks in Nigeria, especially the outsourced staff. And all they need are the people who have national diploma, which is called the ND. Could you believe that in the past 1 week, we've been struggling to get a source where we can get at least 500 from a school? That this is the archive of the guys who have graduated, who have this kind of degree. We're giving it to you, even if it's for sale or something. We are not able to get that currently in Nigeria. So nobody is taking those kind of categories serious. And people who have ND in the past 5 years are all millennials, because that's like the first option. Absolutely. When you finish your secondary school. So most times people should start, organizations who want to survive in the future should start looking at that data point.
I mean, Get Up Inc. is working on a report anyways. It's going to talk about the behavioral patterns of millennials on the internet.
Exactly.
Right? So if you go on getupinc.com right now, you can join the survey. It's going to be out in January. So at least we're taking some steps towards that.
So some organizations should start looking at keying into that, even funding that,
right,
to make sure they get the best out of it. So they should be able to sit down and say, look, from what you're going to do, want you to extrapolate data for us in this part or region of the country or in Africa. Okay, want people from, so like I was in Egypt, and the kind of decision they make in Egypt is totally different. The style of conversation that the youth in Egypt are having are totally different.
Because
if you go to Rwanda,
it's
different.
It's different.
Every culture drives different kind of. If you go to Ghana, you see them. I feel they are laid back. Maybe my own thinking, but that's the kind of conversation they are having.
Exactly.
That's the kind
of who they are.
Who they are. So, what kind of products am I going to sell to these guys? You know, my company, we expanded to Ghana, we're doing Rwanda, Kenya, and all of those places, and we're looking at, okay, what kind of informed decision? So we are talking about online, you're doing webinar in all this part of the world. Those guys are not ready for webinar. And then when you leave Lagos, that sounds like the biggest metropolitan part, and you go to as close as Benin, do you know that Twitter does not work for us in Benin? For all the campaigns we're running there, it's Facebook that works for us.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
So people will say they're influencers on Twitter in Benin. When you go to their handle, they have 2,000 followers and they're influencers. But when you come to Lagos, if you are not having 40,000, 100,000, nobody takes you serious.
Right.
So the decision making patterns are different. You know, I was in one of these election stuff during the course of the year. Went south, and we're talking to a special advisor to the governor of the state, and the guy said, "I don't get Instagram. Wait till concern me there. People know they there now. Our people know they there." Exactly. That's what he believes. There, people are not there.
I would kind of agree with him. I did a project with the federal government in December 2016, and then we put some things on NTA. The cable TV does not have up to, I heard it doesn't have up to 4 million. NTA has Nigeria. We had a gap for registration. We had a gap from 35 people to over 14 people in less than 2 weeks, just by doing terrestrial TV. So I can understand what the man is saying. Yeah. So wow, this is. Can we have a 1 hour show? Ekundayo, I would like to come back to the studio.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
Okay, no problem. All right, you know, guys. First of all, go on LinkedIn, search Ekundayo Ayeni. Right, ask him questions, get him as a consultant. He knows these things. Right. Also, go on getupinc.com and take the African Millennial survey right there. It's going to be a report that will talk about the behavioral patterns of African millennials, right? So that when you're making your marketing decisions, you have some information to back it up, and then you can have a very, very wonderful and prosperous business here in the coming set of months. All right. Thank you, Ekundayo. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for especially emphasis on cultural differences. It's a very, very important thing. All right, guys, it's about to be a very, very interesting weekend. Ekundayo says he's going to be back in the studio again, so let's look forward to that. All right, then have a beautiful time and have a very restful weekend. Yeah, bye.
You're listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.